been disqualified, that they had in fact been disqualified, and to provide the ISO disqualification memo. They did not do so. What they wanted to do was they wanted to paint it in the best possible light. They wanted to sanitize it. And so what they did is they waited 5 weeks so that they could prepare an analysis for which they had no permission from this board to even file. And then they filed the notice, again without the ISO memo, and waited 3 more weeks to file the ISO memo, and when they did, it was incomplete.
I just want to point out that, again, back to no matter what we provide, it's never fast enough. No matter what we provide, it's going to be objected to. If we had not provided the analysis and the updates to the previously filed data responses or testimony to correct and adjust the numbers, we'd be criticized by the objectors for not being forthright with that information. So that's why it was important that the experts take the time to put that information together for the parties, because the data that's supplied is responsive to the requests that were made by the agencies and by the parties, so that they could do their evaluation.
I appreciate that point, but I believe that fairness and transparency of the process dictates that we give that same opportunity to the other experts who are involved. Yeah. Madam Chair, do you? I'd be prepared to make a motion.
Okay.
You can listen, and second we can discuss. Let me look at the. So I move that we allow time for additional discovery and additional supplemental testimony by experts. And I would make this, in my motion, I would move that we provide 90 days. I'm thinking of 45 plus 15 plus some of the other delays, so that's what I'm thinking. I can make this more artfully and succinctly. I also do agree that we should have supplemental advisory opinions. So I'd like to move that we request supplemental advisory opinions from the Office of Energy Resources and statewide planning so that they may supplement and also respond to the disqualifications in FCA 12 and the additional information on that issue. Discovery, supplemental advisory opinions, expert testimony. So in all three, I think it's important that for the fairness and the quality of this process that we provide that time, which I realize would move the final hearing date. I think when we get to it, perhaps in our next open meeting, that we can address that issue in regard to the water supply plan, because it does provide additional time. Those are the motions I'd like to make. I'll just comment further that we have the ability, I think Mr. Shore pointed that out, we have the authority and the ability to hire experts ourselves. We don't need any motion to provide us that, although I appreciate the recommendation. It is something I'd like to discuss further when you probably noticed Mr. Agrawal is not here today. We have a quorum because there's 2 of us, but it's something I'd like to discuss further when we meet again and have a full body.
Absolutely. I second your motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Clarification, there's also a pending request from CLF for an advisory opinion from DEM pertaining to the sole source water aquifer referenced in the contract with the Narragansetts.
I do believe that was a suggestion you made perhaps in a footnote in one of your filings, which was pointed out. I think if we provide this time, I guess I'll ask you what your feeling on that is. I think we'll probably have a meeting where we talk some more about the water plan when we take up the Charleston motion. But there was a footnote suggesting that DEM look at the supplemental water supply withdrawal from the sole source aquifer and look at environmental impacts of that.
Right, although that's just a backup plan, isn't that correct? Or the
Yeah.
agreement that the applicant has
Yeah.
with Johnston.
It is a
So-
backup plan. I don't think it's really before us today either, so I would suggest, I know it was included in that footnote, but I think we should hold that off until we meet again.
Yeah. I thought, did we vote? I think we did. Did we?
Let me clarify then.
I'd second your motion
Yeah.
and.
I believe we did vote.
And again, ask, all in favor?
Aye.
Please say aye. Aye. That's definitely passed.
Right. I think we need to clarify for the parties. My suggestion was 90 days, which would be inclusive of all the time for the additional discovery that's needed. I'd like to see, I know that's half the time we normally provide, but the supplement to the advisory opinions within 90 days. And then I think we have time for the experts to respond to the discovery request in that time period as well. So we can clarify the exact timing in our order.
Is that clear? And everybody believes that that's sufficient time?
Yes, thank you.
Jerry, just don't point out that's a speaker.
Oh, okay. I apologize unreservedly.
Tell them.